Happy hump day. That's right. We're going to be talking about Judge Jackson that needs to be fired. I really can't find the video I really want to queue up, but listening to some of the things that she has said leads me to question that I don't think she has the best interests of our kids at heart when it comes to certain cases dealing with crimes against kids. That's right. There's one video that I wanted to share where she says it was a lower sentence because the pictures were on a electronic device, and that electronic device means that you have more access to certain information, which means that you're able to quickly gather up a lot of material, and that's why it shouldn't be considered the same as going through the mail, which I find very, very, very disturbing. Yes, I understand the internet's an awesome place. It's also a terrible place for that exact same reason where we're dealing with the vulnerable, which means that a picture can be going viral when you really shouldn't be going viral. Like this one picture of Hunter Biden and a lady. Hopefully she's of age, but we are dealing with the Biden snorting crack off of the rear end of this lady. I'm hoping that it's of age because if it's of age, it doesn't change the fact. But I'm hoping it's of age. But the fact that I have to question it because we're dealing with a Biden, it's very disturbing. But anyways, it's neither here nor there. Let's let's talk about this now. I forgot that my computer restarted, so I have to requeue it up. But anyways, I don't know what the daily signal is. I don't know if they swing left, right, to the center. I don't know if it's Libertarian, Green Party. I don't know. But has to give something to pause. Soft on crime. Here is Jackson's record on sex offenders and other criminals. It goes through a couple things, but I don't really care about those because I think it deals with terrorism. But I don't want that to be part of it. I mean, people have their stances. But this one right here is Judge Brown Jackson once expressed concerns about climate of fear of hatred and revenge surrounding sex offenders. It's the worst thing that you could do, in my opinion. Jackson later opposed the confinement conditions of the Taliban leader suspected of running a terrorist cell. Judge also routinely ruled against Trump administration on immigration enforcement cases as detailed here. I don't really care. Now that President Joe Biden, Supreme Court nominee Jackson, faces questions about her legal career and record on crime when her Senate confirmation hearing convenes Monday. Senator Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, I hope he gets primaried, this week noted that during the crime wave, Jackson has favored among interests of the group that's soft on crime. Amid all this soft on crime brigade, squarely at Judge Jackson's corner, McConnell said at the Senate floor they want her above anyone else on the short list and especially cited her experience of defending criminals and her work at the Sentencing Commission as a key qualification. Liberal nonprofit Demand Justice promoted Jackson as its top pick as potential Supreme Court nominee as Biden, or for Biden. Arabella Advisor, major bankroller on the left of the center cause, sponsored a launch of Demand Justice. But yada yada yada. Go ahead and ignore all that because I don't really care. Senator Josh Holloway, Republican from Montana, member of the Senate Judiciary Committee, tweeted Wednesday that he sees an alarming pattern when it comes to Judge Jackson's treatment of sex offenders, especially those preying on children. While the Commission of Hawley noted that Jackson's less serious child pornography offender is motivated by the use of technology. She also said that some of those who possess child popcorn are for those either a collection or people who are loners and find status in their participation in the community. I have an issue with that. Holly tweeted referenced 7 separate cases which Jackson ruled on federal bench. Judge Jackson pulled her troubling view into action in every single child case, which we can find records. Judge Jackson deviated from the federal sentencing guidelines in favor of the offender. But of course, here are the cases. I'm not going to go in deep detail into them, mainly because I can't find them, and nor do I want to search on Scum. The lower court cases Holly highlighted included U.S. versus Hawkins, where sentencing guidelines were up to 10 years in prison for a man convicted of possession of multiple images of a child. Jackson sentenced him to 3 months. I think it was 18, but the fact that it was on a computer device only gave him 3 months. I don't know what the probation was. U.S. versus Stewart's was sentence guidelines called for 97 to 121 months in prison for a man convicted of possessing thousands of images of child things and attempted to travel across state line to abuse a 19-year-old girl. Jackson sentenced him to 57 months. U.S. versus Cooper, where the guidelines called for 151 to 188 months for a sex offender convicted of posting 600 images and videos online. Jackson sentenced him to 60 months, the lowest sentence allowed according to Holly. U.S. versus Chazin, where the guidelines called for 78 to 97 months for the possession of child stuff. Jackson's sentence was to 28 months. U.S. versus Downs, where the guidelines called for 70 to 87 months for someone convicted of posting sexual images of children, including at least one under the age of 5. Jackson handed down 60 months. U.S. versus Sears, where the guidelines called for 97 to 128 months for a perpetrator of convicted of distributing 102 child videos as well as photos of his 10-year-old daughter. How can you do that to your own child, you monster? Jackson gave him 60 months. Jackson, however, later denied him compassionate release in 2020 when he said that diabetes, mellitus, and asthma placed him at a greater risk of serious complications from COVID-19, according to the Congressional Research Service. Well, that's good. U.S. versus Savage, where the guidelines called for 46 to 57 months for a man convicted of traveling with the intent of engaging in illicit sex conduct, also transporting child stuff. Jackson sentenced him to 37 months. White House spokesperson Andrew Bates told Washington Post reporter that Holly is using selective information. This is toxic, weakly presented misinformation that relies on cherry-picking elements of her record of contacts and buckles under the lightest scrutiny. Democrats Jackson nominee is technically controlled of 100-member Senate by holding 48, enjoying support of 2 independents, and having the Vice President Kamala Harris available to cast tie-breaking vote. Let's see here. Many articles were written in the past on how the law is unfair to sexual predators and sex offenders, but she has long legal career of advocating for lighter sentences across the board, Buckman told the Daily Signal. I don't care about these monsters. I really don't. I really don't care about these monsters. I really don't. I mean, I'm not going to read this because it really doesn't go too much. But the fact that her stance. Now, I'm not going to show this video, but hopefully it goes through. But I'm going to play it. Mainly because I don't want the images to be copy striked or copyrighted, even though it's a public hearing.
Crime was egregious in the court's view. Okay, so this is a bad one. If you're actually sentencing defendants, you said this was egregious. What did you sentence Stewart for? The guidelines said 97 to 121 months. Prosecutor said 97 months. You said it's egregious. 6,700 images. You come in with 57
Time
months.
has expired.
Why
Senators
did
use
you
2
sentence
minutes
him to
over the
just
allotted.
57 months? In the Stewart case, do you want to address that? Because you're claiming it's cherry picking. In fact, you're welcome to explain any of these cases, but let's take the Stewart case. Why
Senator Coons,
did you sentence him for half the amount?
you're not recognized, Senator. Senator Coons,
You don't want her to answer that question?
you wouldn't allow her any.
Mr. Chairman, she may answer the question. I've asked her why she sentenced Stewart
You've
at
gone over the
egregious,
time, Senator, by 2 minutes.
why
and a
she's
half.
Yeah, it's that video right there. Ted Cruz, love him, hate him. As long as he doesn't shave, he's actually okay to look at. This was the last question. Now, Holly did follow up, and I don't know where that video is, but I'm not going to look for it. But still, the fact that we're dealing with the worst of the worst, and my solution to these people is a volcano from a helicopter, but that's just my personal opinion. And that's why I'm not a judge, because I would be going for the strictest amount of time possible, especially when it comes to against kids, because I strongly feel we must protect our future, and our future is vulnerable until they become adults. With that being said, leave a comment down below if I'm thinking I'm being unreasonable. Do you agree with the Daily Signal? Is that a bias? It probably is biased because there's no non-biased news out there. Is that a source of news that you would recommend to others? What do you think about this Supreme Court pick? Do you think she's disqualified and should be fired? Or am I overreacting? Because I don't know all the facts. Let me know down below. Smash the like and subscribe button on all 80 platforms or just a platform you're currently watching. But most importantly, have yourself a wonderful day, morning, or evening.